You are listening to Unravel with Natalie Denise.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Unravel with me, Natalie Denise. Oh gosh, I need to get. What is today? Wednesday? Tomorrow's Thursday. I gotta get this sign switched over because if you haven't noticed, my placement kind of changed a little bit, so I'm covering up all my sign. I gotta get that fixed. Hope you guys are doing well today. Today is Wednesday, and we have more headlines, as you would imagine. The day may end, but the world of trafficking does not. As sick as that sounds, we have headlines that happen every single day. And it is dark out there, guys. It is getting more and more dark out there. I shared a post. Actually, you know what? Let me pull that up as a starter. I shared a post on my Twitter about college professors wanting to advocate for sex with children. Yes, that's right. And this is quite disturbing when we start playing this video, because these professors are trying to make a justification for adult relationships with children, and in that way. And it's really crazy that now, like, you know how like you see all these excuses about like, oh, this social justice measure has to happen, this social justice measure has to happen, and the reason why it hasn't happened is because of some obscure reason. Well, this is one of those, but it's dark because they're going after children. You know what I mean? So with this, let's go ahead and get started with this. We're gonna just start off with this one because it's quite dark. Hey, Sophia, thank you so much for modding for me. I appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's take a look at this video compilation here. Whoops, let's do this right here. All right. Okay. So these are college professors, right? In the first scene, you're going to see a college professor from the University of New York at Fredonia. And then in the second scene, it's going to be a professor that is speaking to other professors at the University of New Hampshire. So let's take a look at what they have to say about adult relationships in that dark way with children.
Imagine that an adult male wants to have sex with a 12-year-old girl. Imagine that an adult male wants to have sex with a 12-year-old girl. Imagine that she's a willing participant. A very standard, very widely held view that there's something deeply wrong about this, and it's wrong independent of it being criminalized. It's not obvious to me that is in fact wrong. I think this is a mistake. Well, there's a couple things to say here. One is, even if you are looking for a threshold, let's say there's a threshold. I'm making this number up, but let's say it's at age 8. Still,
when he says, let's say we're looking for a threshold, so that means like his language is describing that like there's a limit to this, right? Let's just say we're looking for a limit to sex with children. That's what he's saying. Let's just say we're looking for an age limit to sex for children. And then he put the age threshold as 8. 8 years old. 8. That's what he's saying.
Oh, that tells you that some adult child sex is permissible. Second, the notion that it's wrong even with a 1-year-old is not quite obvious to me. There are reports in some cultures of grandmothers filleting the baby boys to calm them down when a colicky. Now, I don't know if this is true, but this is...
He doesn't even know if it's true. Like, he doesn't even know that that's true. You heard what he's saying? He's saying, maybe in certain cultures, the grandmothers like to basically do that to a baby boy. You guys can, you guys can gather what he's trying to say here. That in certain cultures, maybe a mother or grandmother, they do that to a little boy, to their genitals, in order to calm them down from crying. And then he says, I don't know if that's true or that. And then he goes into a mumble because he's probably pulling this stuff out of his ass, right? He's probably pulling this stuff out of his ass as he talks. He has like diarrhea of the mouth where he's just a word salad just to make his justification for adult relations with children.
Sort of widely reported as occurring in at least one culture, and it working, that the grandmothers believe this actually works. If this were to be true, it's hard to see what would be wrong with it.
Okay, so that was the University of New York at Fredonia. Now we're going into scene of professors talking at a meeting at the University of New Hampshire.
Also, if young people are initiating sexual activities with adults or enthusiastically involved, we can't be effective in working with them if we assume that all such relationships start with a predatory or criminally inclined adult. As we see in the discussion, young people bridle at being forced into this box of being seen as being the victim of a predator. And so there are reasons for learning about what the dynamics are and how to talk about them so that we can better help the young people who are in these situations.
Better help the young people who are in these predatory situations of adults preying on them. That's what he's saying. That's what he's...
Reasons for learning about what the dynamics are and how to talk about them so that we can better help the young people who are in these situations.
Like, these are pedophiles that are they have high positions as professors at your children's colleges, at your siblings' colleges, right? Like, this is New York and New Hampshire. This is what they're advocating for. They're openly advocating for pedophilia. Yep, sure are. That's what they're doing. And look, I don't care what culture this comes from. I don't care if this is a cultural thing, as he tried to mention about child brides and all that. This is wrong on all scales. It doesn't matter what culture it comes from or not. This is crazy. This is crazy. Irish Spirit Eye says, wow, this is bad. Using every excuse to excuse this behavior. I know. That's what they're trying to do. And that's what they do with every single issue, trying to justify it somehow. Oh, it's a fiery but peaceful protest. Oh, you know, it's and look, what did I say in a lot of my podcasts? This is where it's moving into, where they're going to try to make this into a sexual preference. This is what's happening, right? If not already happening as we see it. They're going to try to make this into a sexual preference. These are college professors, you guys. These are college professors that are later going to indoctrinate college students, as they have been, right? You wonder why there's so many SJW warriors out there, SJWs. Because a lot of it came from college education, where these activist professors somehow popped up on the scene like daisies, and they started advocating for crazy theories and crazy, social justice ideas. But now you have this. Now you have this where they're openly advocating, well, it's not so bad that these kids want to, that these kids want to have relationships with adults. That's what they're saying. It's not so bad that, there could be a dynamic that we just don't understand. Are you kidding me? Belinda says, I recall sex ed in grade 6 and had a video that warned us that of a pedophile. It was the uncle in the story. Yeah. And that's when sex education in school, like when it was actual sex education, where they, like that stuff, I don't like, I'm not against that. Like the generic stuff like, look, this is the pee, this is the wee, this is, you know what I mean? Like the birds and the bees type basics. And if you do it while you're young and, you know, you do it promiscuously, you know, this could happen. Pee, wee, you know, make baby and, you know, could probably contract diseases, like the most important stuff you should be learning about. But no, they have it completely infiltrated with this sick agenda to indoctrinate more advocates like they are for pedophilism. Yep, that's what it is. This is sick. I thought I'd start out with that, but yeah, these are college professors, you guys. College professors. Let me see if I can make out their names. I don't know if his name is Stephen Krishnar from the University of New York at Fredonia, and the other one, the name is so blurry I can't see it. Maybe it's Ernest or Elvis, something like that. I can't really make it out. Anyway, let's move on to the next headline. In Florida, a Florida man was charged with human trafficking, arrested in a shirt saying, "I'm a sick boy." Deputies say Joseph Michael Daughtery, 44, was charged with multiple sex crimes against children. In Jacksonville, Florida, a man was arrested at Marion County warrant for multiple sex crimes against children, according to a Facebook post from the Putnam County Sheriff's Office. Deputies say that the man was found wearing a shirt that read, "I'm a sick boy." I mean, these people get more and more bold as the days come. Deputies say Joseph Michael Daughtery was charged with multiple sex crimes against children, including 2 counts of capital sexual battery with a victim under 12 years old, 1 count of lewd and lascivious molestation on a victim under 12, and 1 count of human trafficking. Deputies say Daughtery was arrested and taken into Putnam County Jail, where he will remain until he can be transported to Marion County. We're happy to help our Marion County counterparts with getting this criminal off the street, said deputies off a Facebook post. And you guys on audio podcast can't see this because obviously you guys are listening on podcast. But this is the guy, and he's wearing a sleeveless tank, and it says, "I am a sick boy," with a skull and crossbones. I mean, symbolism wears itself. All right. The next story coming from, it's the Nigerian The Guardian. It's not the American Guardian, but it's from The Guardian from Nigeria. It says police rescue 5 human trafficking victims and arrest 10 suspected prostitutes in Delta. The police command in Delta has rescued 5 victims of human trafficking and arrested 10 suspected prostitutes in the state. Again, this is coming from Nigeria. The commissioner of police in the state, Mr. Ari Ali, disclosed in a statement issued by the command spokesman, DSP Bright Edaf, on Wednesday in Asaba. Ali said that the suspects were arrested on Friday at a brothel located at Otukutu community in Ughelli South local government area of the state. He stated that on April 15th, about 2300 hours, the command received information that a hotel located in Aragba, Otokutu, Ughelli South was being used as a brothel where underage children were being trafficked and used as sex slaves. The command, upon receiving this disturbing information, raided the brothel and rescued 5 underage girls, he said. Children. Ali said that the investigations revealed that the female suspect, now at large, has been involved in human trafficking the underage girls from Rivers to Patani in Delta. He further said that the victims were forced to take oath in Patani before they were brought to Otu Jeremy. The police commissioner added that they were being harbored by the owner of the brothel and his wife, currently in police custody. He said that 10 other male suspects and 10 female suspected prostitutes were also arrested during the raid, adding that the investigation was ongoing. Once again, doesn't matter what part of the world, what what walk of life you come from, human trafficking is persisting through all walks of life everywhere. All right, this is another report coming from, well, it's from Nigeria to Dubai, but this is speaking of human organ trafficking, which is a form of human trafficking because they are exploiting humans for their usage of their bodies. But it goes a lot more further. This is their body parts, right? So it says, this is from Sahara Reports, the National Agency for the Prohibition of Trafficking in Persons, NAPTIP, says that Dubai, United Arab Emirates, has now become the destination of choice for human traffickers and trafficked victims. Naduka Nawanyin, Zonal Commander, NAPTIP, Benin Zonal Command, disclosed this in Benin, the commencement of a 3-day sensitization program of human trafficking. I'm not quite sure what that means. I'm going to be quite honest with you. And this might be translated, so the wording might be a little different. This is because the human traffickers have stepped up, according to Newswire, that the human trafficking victims were transported by their traffickers by land to their destinations. Victims are now air transported. Because this human trafficking has stepped up their game, the traffickers, that is, and the destination of choice of victims, human trafficking, was now in Dubai. Human trafficking is not abating in the country because traffickers make so much money from their victims, so they make it as a business. The traffickers are now concentrating on rural areas of recruitment for their victims, he said. The zonal commander also revealed that irregular migration was also being used as a ploy for human trafficking. That sounds a little bit familiar to us here in the United States. Maybe a little bit of our southern border, if you will. So this could be going on in the United States. Get this. The zonal commander revealed that an irregular migration was also being used for a ploy for human trafficking, such that its victims were being exploited for their organs. There is now an increase in organ harvesting, not just for money rituals, but also for transplants. This is because the need for organs is higher than the supply, he added. While nothing of that issue of human trafficking was still on the front burner, Nawanween said that there was a need for partnership to end human trafficking. He said that baby sales and the baby factory operations were part of human trafficking and that there was a need for concerted efforts to end human trafficking. As security agencies, we must be alive to our duties. We must join hands with the government to fight the issue of human trafficking. I must also advise parents to stop putting pressure on their children to go and make money. Parents should control themselves and give birth to only a number of children they can cater for, he said. So a bit of a cultural difference. But it seems to be, you know, what's so sad reading these stories from foreign nations? What's so sad is that it seems to be that other countries are fighting more hard for against human trafficking than the United States is. Like I said, it comes in all shapes and sizes, all walks of life, but still, it's still not right that other countries are fighting harder to end human trafficking than we are. All right. Next story is coming from KDRV. Month-long child sex abuse investigations lead to 2 arrests. And this is in Oregon. In Southern Oregon, child exploitation team SOCET. Man, a lot of stuff is coming out of Oregon. The joint interagency task force investigations led to 2 separate arrests today on child pornography cases. The suspects are not connected. These arrests stemmed from last year's cases, bringing the total number of 2021 SOCET arrests to 28. The first arrest was this morning, Monday, April 18, 2022, when Jackson County Sheriff's Office, JCSO, patrol duties arrested Caleb Scott Hansen, 22, at the 500 block of Meadow Lane in Eagle Point. SOCET served a search warrant August 10th, 2021, after receiving a tip from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and that someone had uploaded child exploitation images from the residence. During the warrant, investigators seized digital devices, which were forensically examined by the Southern Oregon High-Tech Crimes Task Force. and further SOCET investigations led to his arrest. Hansen has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree encouraging child sexual abuse, 2 counts of second-degree encouraging child sexual abuse, and 6 counts of encouraging sexual assault of an animal. So bestiality. I'm telling you, like this is another example of, this is what porn does to your brain as well, right? Like when people search porn, for instance, this is just a starting point. So they search porn, they're looking for something that's going to gratify them more and more and more. And what they watched previous isn't necessarily gratifying to them. And so they push the boundaries and they search for more things like kids and abuse. And then it moves into bestiality, right? So it's like these people who have these sick mentalities, they're always trying to push the books with this. So he was performing bestiality. The second arrest, his second arrest came from the U.S. Marshals from Pacific Northwest Violent Offender Task Force, arrested Nicholas James Parnell, 32 years old, of Central Point for 15 counts of first-degree encouraging a child's sexual abuse. U.S. Marshals took Parnell into custody at the Parole and Probation's office in Medford. Parnell is currently on federal probation for possession of child pornography out of the District of Idaho. Investigators originally served a warrant at Parnell's residence November 30th, 2021, after receiving a tip from NCMEC, that's the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, that someone had uploaded child exploitation images from the residence. Central Point Police Department assisted with serving the warrant at the 500 block of Briarwood Drive at Central Point. During the warrant, investigators seized digital devices which were forensically examined by SOHTCTF and further SOCET. Investigations led to his arrest. He's lodged at the Jackson County Jail for $250,000 bond. All right, next story coming from the DrydenWire.com. $1,000 cash bond ordered for a man charged with possession of distribution of child pornography. That's right. $1,000 cash bond. You guys already know the program by now, right? You guys already know why I'm going to complain. What do we talk about a lot here on the Daily Traffic? The Daily Traffic segment of Nightly with Natalie. What do we talk about a lot? The bail reforms in every single city that is happening, that is going on. Let me see if I can pick up on the city here. Berrien County, Wisconsin. So we see it in Houston. We see it in California. We see it everywhere. Wisconsin. $1,000 bond. Charges have been filed against 23-year-old Barron, a Wisconsin man, alleging that he possessed and distributed child pornography following an investigation that spanned several months. The Barron County Sheriff's Office was part of the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force, received an assignment from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children to investigate the upload of a video containing suspected child pornography. Investigating detectives reviewed the video and found that it contained footage of an adult male engaged in sexual intercourse with a prepubescent female. The IP address associated with this upload was found to be associated with the residence in Cameron, Wisconsin. A search warrant for the residence was obtained and executed in January 2022. The results of that warrant and information gained during their investigation led detectives to Derek Saluski as the person suspected of uploading the video. Detectives obtained a search warrant to search Saluski's cell phone. The criminal complaint filed against Saluski states that a detective served the warrant on Saluski at his place of employment and explains that the purpose of the warrant was to seize the phone and search it for child pornography. While this was in process, it was being explained to him, Saluski became extremely nervous and his legs began shaking uncontrollably before he seemed to lose consciousness and pass out briefly while falling onto the floor. I'm glad he's scared. I am so glad that he got that nervous. Like, we need to bring shame back into our culture. This is how scared pedophiles ought to be. I'm going to read that again just out of my satisfaction. Saluski became extremely nervous and his legs began shaking uncontrollably before he seemed to lose consciousness and pass out briefly while falling on the floor. Good for you, guy. I'm glad. After Saluski regained consciousness and it was determined that he was not in need of medical attention, the phone was turned over to an analyst from Wisconsin Department of Justice, Division of Criminal Investigation, Digital Forensic Unit for analysis. An interview was also conducted with Saluski on that same date. Saluski provided numerous pieces of information to law enforcement, including passwords and email addresses. Saluski specifically said that he did not want to use social media platforms called Kik, that he did not use social media platform called Kik on the particular cell phone that he had, and he hasn't used it for years. Forensic analysis of the phone showed that Kik had been repeatedly installed and uninstalled on his phone as often as every few days. The analysis also showed usernames similar in format to the information that Saluski had already provided to the detectives. The forensic analysis on the phone also allegedly revealed that on January 7, 2022, Saluski had played a media file entitled 6-year-old blank blank blowjob daddy in bathroom blank shot in the face. Like how would you ever know about this story, guys? These are sick individuals in this world. He had that dirty title in a forensic analysis that they uncovered on his cell phone. Now, he had this title and he was using an encrypted cloud-based file sharing service. An email was also located in the cell phone associating Saluski's email address with the sharing service. Excuse me, I tried to keep it in, but I couldn't. Detective applied for another search warrant to search Saluski's account with the file sharing service, and that warrant was obtained on March 20, 2022 and executed. The criminal complaint filed against Saluski states that immediately upon gaining access to this account, detectives located a file that displayed a thumbnail image showing an exposed girl parts of a prepubescent child. Multiple folders with names such as under 18 girl nude pics and containing data were located within the account. Another thumbnail image of the nude prepubescent female child was also located by detectives. An additional search warrant was applied for and obtained to search the information retrieved from the file sharing account. The criminal complaint states that over 7,000 files were located in dozens of folders. So let me just pause and ask you, you think Judge Ketanji Brown is going to fight for the correct thing in this particular case if she had it on her desk? What was her argument? Oh, well, because of the internet now, these pedophiles have more access, so it's not the same thing. This dude had a file with 6-year-old blank blowjob daddy in bathroom blank shot in the face. He had over 7,000 files on his device. They say that the initial examination of those files by detectives allegedly revealed that all of the files are either pictures or videos, and that the majority of them appear to consist of child sexual assault material or child pornography. The criminal complaint against Saluski goes on to allege that he utilized another online platform to upload over a dozen other files containing child pornography depicting prepubescent females with genitals exposed and or engaged in sexual acts. The data obtained during their investigation indicated that Saluski allegedly shared 32 files with approximately 754 different users of the platform. Detailed descriptions of the child pornography located by investigating detectives during the investigation against Saluski were included in the criminal complaint filed against him. However, Dryden Wire had also chosen not to include that information in this post. So let me say that again. Detailed descriptions of child pornography located in by the investigating detectives during the investigation against Zaluski are included in the criminal complaint filed against him. And apparently these descriptions and these titles of these CSAM material, child sexual abuse material, the titles of these were so lewd and so bad that this alternative news site couldn't even post these titles. That's how, I mean, again, this is a mentality of a pedofifi. At the hearing, April 18, 2022, the Honorable James Babler placed Zaluski on a $1,000 cash bond. Conditions of bond prohibit Zaluski from accessing the internet. He's scheduled to appear again on April 20th, 2022. Oh my gosh. Like, think about that for a second. We just talked about all of the horrific material and content that this guy had on his phone, right? Titles that were so lewd, they were so egregious that not even this alternative news site wanted to publish them. So we went through the entire article of all of these horrific details. He had over 7,000 pieces of content on his phone. He had very lewd pictures. He had a specific folder called pictures of little girls, right? Nude pictures of little girls. And this judge, oh my gosh, like this stuff really, like, it really makes me furious. This judge placed him on a $1,000 cash bond. $1,000. 1,000. Not 10,000, not 50,000, where you can just post 10% of the bail and get out. $1,000, and this lewd ass creep is free on the streets. This is his picture right here. Wisconsin, by the way, if anybody is in Wisconsin, take note of this. This is your fellow on the streets who had thousands of CSAM on his phone, and he's roaming free right now. Actually, I don't know that for certain because I just assume that because it's $1,000 bond, but I would not doubt it for a second. Take a good look at this picture. Wisconsin, or anybody out there who he might move somewhere. It's absolutely, absolutely egregious. It's ridiculous. This is what your bail reform policies, this is what's happened. These are your bail reform policies that are being established in every single city. This is in Wisconsin, but I know that it's happening in Houston. I know it's happening in, other states other than $1,000 cash bond. Absolutely incredible that this is happening and we're all witnessing it. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's go through this one. Violin professor sentenced to 5 years in jail. Violinist Steven Ships received his sentence last Thursday for sexually exploiting a minor 20 years ago. I mean, this is way too long to serve justice. 20 years? Violinist Stephen Ships, a former chair of the Department of Strings at the University of Michigan School of Music, has been sentenced to 5 years in federal prison for child exploitation. The sentencing follows his trial last November, at which he pleaded guilty to transporting a 16-year-old girl across state lines for sex in 2002. The 69-year-old has also been accused of preying on abusing 9 minors who were his violin students and babysitters for his children. Using alcohol and drugs to influence his victims, Assistant U.S. Attorney Sarah Woodward called Ships an abuser. For decades, Ships had inappropriate and damaging sexual relationships with his students. The seriousness of his crimes cannot be overstated. Ships inflicted extensive emotional harm upon the victim and other teenage girls that stayed with them for the rest of their lives. He stole her adolescence and the adolescence of his other victims. Ships will pay $120,000 in restitution. If you don't know what restitution is, that is a specific kind of like a reparation for victims of sex trafficking or sexual exploitation. I think every single victim should get restitution. But it makes me also wonder if how this is going to get split up amongst the victims, because I don't think that's even enough. Reported in Detroit Free Press, one woman stated, "No person is all good or all bad, but Ships, an excellent violin teacher, was also a wolf in sheep's clothing. He intentionally set a trap for me, one I knew I wouldn't see because I was a kid and no match for a seasoned professor." The victim's impact statement was read as Ships' sentencing. Apologizing at the sentencing, Ships said, "I have broken the law and I acknowledge that." No, sir, you didn't just break the law, you broke a spirit. You didn't just break the law. You did something really horrible. It's not just breaking the law. He continues, "I think more relevant is that my actions have caused harm. I'm sorry for having been a bad citizen, but I am even more sorry for hurting the victim in that process. I'm trying to make amends as best as I can and will continue to do so." Acknowledging his struggle with alcoholism, he continued, "It took too long, but over the last couple of decades, I learned a lot about myself. Some of that has been through finding faith, and some of that has been through getting sober, which has been very much a function in finding my faith. I have tried to use those insights to be a better person. I will definitely continue doing that as well." From 1989 to 2019, Ships was employed as a violin professor at the University of Michigan School of Music, Theater, and Dance. He was also a director of the String Preparatory Program, which offered coaching to young musicians, and served on the faculties of Indiana University, the North Carolina School of Arts, the University of Nebraska, Omaha, and the Banff Center in Canada. He also taught students at summer music programs at the Czech Republic, Germany, and the United Kingdom. Following the publication of his sexual misconduct at the university's paper in Michigan Daily, Ships was placed on leave in December of 2018. He retired from the University of Michigan in 2019. Again, what is this, kids? Let's do a pop quiz. What does this show? Violin professor, prestigious, only gets 5 years for sexually exploiting all of those girls for what? It was like a decade? Let's go back. Was it a decade or something? Like 2 decades. 89, 99, 2009. 2003 decades. 3 exact decades that he sexually exploited girls, and he's only getting 5 whole years. I just want to take a blowtorch to the system, guys. Like, this is insane. I just, like, sometimes I don't even know what to say anymore, because it's just like the system just lets them out. Obviously, the $1,000 bond in our previous story. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for watching this podcast. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for always supporting me. If you are willing to support, I do have border operations coming up. Once again, I will be operating at the border. We'll try to scout out for victims in need, you go to nataliedenise.com/donate, or there are other links. Basically, you can find me on other Cash App platforms or Venmo at Natalie Denise is my tag. We need supplies. I need gear. I need gear. I need gear. I need gear. I definitely need gear. Being in front of the cartels like that, and I need to be geared up. So if you're willing to help out with that, you guys can do that. So anyway, I appreciate your help. NatalieDenise.com. I will catch you guys in tomorrow's episode. You didn't know, and now you do. I'm signing out. Good night, or have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Unravel with Natalie Denise. Please give this podcast 5 stars.